talk motherhood. Motherhood in my 20s versus motherhood in my 30s. The glow up is real, let me tell you that. Hey guys, what's up? My name is Sotoya Kelechi aka Soti Baby, Soti Mama, Soti Special, Soti Sprinkle, Soti Spicy, Soti Light, Soti Everything Nice. Today we're talking motherhood, a very important topic that everybody and their mommy and their daddy has an opinion on, okay, or an opinion about. Okay, we're discussing it today. Why I think that a lot of women need to talk about motherhood, discuss our experiences, discuss what it's like, what we've learned, and form a community and build a community around this, because motherhood is not easy. And if there's anything I've learned in my 20s and my 30s is that you need a community. Okay, so I'm going to share my experiences and share what I think I've learned and what I think was a bit sketchy, and just keep on watching. All right, so give me a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe button is right here. Leave me your thoughts in the comment section. Let's chat and build a community and talk about the reality of what motherhood is like. Okay, so let's get into the video. So the first thing about motherhood in my 20s was that I was clueless. I had no clue. I had no clue about anything. I was clueless. I literally felt like motherhood was something that was going to be automatic. As in, immediately you get pregnant, you get into that nurturing role, you just automatically become this superwoman that knows everything about motherhood. Wrong. That was my biggest mistake, okay? The first thing that terrified me about motherhood when I became pregnant is like, oh wait, I'm now going to be responsible for another human being, and I started freaking out. Because I was thinking about my parents, thinking about how they raised me, how I didn't want to make some of the mistakes they did, how I was sure I was going to ruin the child, how I wasn't certain about my character and my development. I was very immature, basically. I'm like, how can me, okay, I got married at 27, got pregnant by 28. I was like, how, like me, that I'm still figuring out my own life, okay, how am I going to raise a child? That uncertainty really scared me, it terrified me. And so how did I navigate that? Thank God for YouTube, honestly, because I started watching mommy vloggers. That's when I really got into mommy vloggers. Previous to or prior to then, I was watching mostly maybe motivational movies, those who were vloggers, regular vloggers, not necessarily mommy vloggers. I was watching lots of beauty content and things like that. But I started consuming a lot more motherhood content, and that helped shape my 20s, as in that helped shape my confidence, like, because I now had more information. So what do I say to those who are getting pregnant in their 20s, becoming mothers in their 20s? Arm yourself with as much information as possible so that you are not surprised, okay? Because breastfeeding was a surprise, having a C-section was a surprise, labor pain was a surprise. A lot of these things were surprises to me. All right, so arm yourself with that. In my 30s now, I'm a little more confident. I know, the things about motherhood. I know the fundamentals of what I want my children to be like, what I want my motherhood experience to be like. So I'm a little more firm in myself. I have a lot more understanding of myself. So I'm not as immature as I used to be. Don't be afraid, okay? You will grow. But you will only grow and make less mistakes if you have information. So the first point is have the information, okay? Talk to people, talk to someone, go for birthing classes if possible, your antenatal appointments, ask the nurses questions, okay? That's how you deal with motherhood at that age, okay? Have information. And I know there's a lot of discourse about having children early, getting married early, and all of that. Although I don't consider myself as someone that got married early, even though I was married in my 20s, I still understand the perspective of why it's important to marry when you're mature enough, okay? Because when you're in your 20s, you're still trying to find yourself. You're still trying to figure out who you are. You're still trying to figure out what you really believe in, the career direction, where you want to go. You're not even financially stable a lot of the time. Okay, so having a child in that age sometimes may be more stressful. It may be more, it's a lot of mental work. So in my 30s, having my second child in my 30s, I realized that because I was a little more, or we were a little more financially stable, things were a bit easier for us, okay? And I'd come to the point where I was now more vocal about a lot of things. When you're talking about finding yourself, you're not necessarily that age. you are just getting married, okay, in your 20s, you just got married, you're trying to make sure your marriage is still in the honeymoon phase, you guys are still lovey-dovey all the time. So sometimes you don't want to be confrontational, sometimes you don't want to speak up for, you know, what you believe in and what you expect, and you don't want to deal with certain situations or certain harsh realities that come with marriage and pregnancy and all of that. But I found that in my 30s, as a mother now, I know myself, I know my worth, I know what I bring to the table, apart from a bit of financial, you know, confidence and all of that. But I'm more vocal about my wants, my needs, what my kid needs, what, you know, what I really want from the marriage, from motherhood and all of that. And it makes the motherhood experience much better for me because I've grown up now, I'm more mature now, and I can speak up, I can advocate for myself. So for instance, if I take my kids to somewhere, like to spend time with somebody, a family member or something, I'm much more confident to say, please don't give them this, or they don't need to do this, do this, do this. I can advocate for myself and my kids. When I was younger, I was a little more shy. It was anything goes, whatever they say, whatever they do, I just take it like that. But if I hear maybe my mom or somebody criticizing or, you know, rebuking or whatever to my child, I'm much more confident to say, please, no, don't speak to her like that. I don't like it. This is not how we do it in my home. Okay, so I think that motherhood in my 30s is really dope because I have a voice. My voice is louder much more right now. Okay, the next point is physical strength. Physical strength. You don't underestimate physical strength, and this is why I think that being active is essential. I'm not taking my own advice, okay, but it's good to be strong, it's good to be active, because these kids will test you. They will test you. When I was younger, I was able to do all these fun things, build forts, like I would do blankets, like make a tent in the house, we'll stay in the parlor together, gist, we'll do all of those things and all of that. Now I'm just in my early 30s, but there's a difference with my physical, you know, strength and physical, or let me not say strength, but just the desire to even be running around with them is very, very different. Okay, I'm not that in the mood. I have a lot more on my plate. I'm growing into my own in terms of career, in terms of interest and hobbies and business and things like that. So I'm much more inclined to be working. You would see me working, you would see me in a meeting, you would see me editing a video, you would see me do things than wanting to go out to the playground with my kids or run around with my kids. When I was in my 20s, when I was younger, every single day my daughter and I would go out. Okay, my daughter and I would have the time of our lives. We would play, we would experience things, we would be picking flowers and smelling them, identifying the colors. I was much more involved. Okay, and I think as they grow it happens, but I understand the benefits of having kids at a younger age where you have less responsibility, because then, I mean, I was still in between jobs. I was working, but I was basically in between jobs. Then COVID happened, and so I was physically more present with my first daughter especially than my second. Now I have to schedule in playtime, I have to schedule in when I can take them on play dates, I have to schedule in when I can do certain things. Meanwhile, in the past, it's just pick and go. I just knew that I would do this, I would be able to do this. Okay, that's the difference. But I think that in my 30s now, I'm much more, going back to financial independence and financial, you know, growth, I'm much more able to do things I couldn't do for them before. So perhaps like maybe they would ask for an elaborate toy, or like a whole day playing, and from playing we'll do this and do that, you know, all of that, or put them in extracurricular activities and all of those things. Now financially, I can plan it, I can do it, we can make it happen. My husband and I can say, okay, we're going to Lagos for a trip and take them out. You know, if you watch my vlogs, you will see that I went on holiday and things like that. So there's a balance there. Okay, the physical strength to do a lot of things, but then now that I'm more busy and busier, I have to actually schedule in things, you know, activities with them. So there's a difference there, there's a clear difference there, and I don't necessarily know how it affects my kids. I know that sometimes they always, when they're going to play and when they're going out with their friends, they're always like, mommy come with us, mommy come with us, but I'm probably editing, I'm working or doing something, and I can't always do that. Speaking of career and getting older and having more responsibility, I feel that in my 30s, being a mother in my 30s now, I'm learning much more about work-life balance. I figured it out, at least to the extent that it affects my home and my kids and all of that. I figured out how, like, to schedule things. I figured out how to make time. Okay, and that's just the point, solidifying the point that I made earlier. Work-life balance is a thing where you need to make money, okay? You need to have financial independence. You need to be able to take care of your kids, contribute to your home and all of those things, okay? So you're working, you're creating content, you're busy, you're doing this and that, but then you need to also be a mother to your children. So in my 30s and right now, I've figured out like timing. Thank God for not necessarily flexible work hours, but stable work hours, that I know that within this time period, I can do this. Within this other time period, I can do that, okay? Does that make sense? I'm able to arrange things more. I'm able to do more. I know what I want, you know, basically. So that's what has helped in my 30s. Like, you know, yeah, securing the bag, but also securing the motherhood bag. I think that's really important. And I don't know how, depending on, you know, how early you start in life, depending on all the resources that you have, it might not be that easy for a lot of people. And I know in Nigeria, there's a lot of emphasis in terms of culture on mothers being mainly nurturers, okay, home caregivers, homemakers, and all of that. But right now, and because of the economy, it's changing. A lot of men, a lot of families cannot survive on single income, okay? Men want their wives to work. Women want to also work. They want to support. They want to help the family. So it's necessary that if you're getting married now, having kids now, you have to learn how to balance it all and, you know, build a support system and all of that. That leads me to my next point, building a support system. In my 20s and with my first child, I did not demand help from my support system. I felt like they should have offered it on their own. I felt like I shouldn't have to ask. I shouldn't have to advocate for some things, especially coming from a Nigerian woman who, you know, we are used to Omugo lifestyle. We are used to family and community and things like that. I felt like I didn't need to. I shouldn't have to, you know, speak up. But in my 30s, I'm like, it cannot work. We have to talk about it. I have to be able to say, Mom, I need help. I need my kids to come and stay with you for the weekend because so and so is happening. Please help me out. Before that, I would suffer or I would just not go, okay, because I would keep quiet. I would deal with it as my child. I have to deal with it. But like I said in some other points earlier in this video, somehow in my 30s, my voice has come out and I've learned to demand for help, demand for respect, not ask. That's what I'm saying, because I know that it's in our culture in Nigeria, it's a communal living. It's something that I'm entitled to. I'm entitled to familial support, familial support or support system. My sister, I'm like, my sister, you live in the same city as me. I need you to take my kids for the weekend, please. I have this and this going on. Thank you very much. Bye, kids. Okay, I would say that more often. Before then, in my 20s, and I think it was just part of personality and growth as well. Like I said, becoming more mature, becoming into my own, knowing what I want and what I don't want. Okay, I didn't know that I could ask for help like that. I didn't know that I could demand help and say no, it's my right. Because if you had kids, or if whatever the reason, you could drop my kids off with me, your kids off with me, and I will take care of them. Okay, I didn't ask for much. I didn't try to ask for much. In my 30s, I'm like, so they gotta rest, so they gotta take care of herself, all right? I have to recuperate, I have to center myself, okay? Now, speaking of centering yourself, in my 30s, my second child, okay, I learned how to combat depression and mental health issues and dealing with a lot of issues that come with motherhood, okay? And that relates to the other point of speaking of, but I learned it because I experienced it in my 20s with my first child. And one of the things that I experienced was postpartum depression. It was a bit of body dysmorphia, anxiety, a lot of psychosis as well. I experienced a lot of these things, and I'm glad we're having this conversation, because when you get married early and you have a child early, sometimes your body, your mind, your life is not prepared to face the challenges, okay, that comes with motherhood at that stage, at that, you know, experience. Really, when you're unprepared, this is why we talked about being prepared with information, expectations, and all of that. So in my 30s, when I had my second child, I knew that I could not be alone. I knew the struggles that came with breastfeeding after having a C-section. I knew that I needed to have a constant sense of togetherness with my husband, that we were a team. It wasn't just me doing motherhood by myself. I knew that with feeding the child, I needed extra help. So I'm focusing on the child as opposed to focusing on cleaning and taking care of my husband and things like that. So in my 30s, I was like, okay, since my mom can't do a mugo for me as I want her to, because she's a working woman as well, I called my auntie. I'm like, please come through for me. And she stayed with me for 2.5 months. And that is how I avoided a lot of the issues I had with Jasmine. She was able to nip some things in the bud. Jasmine didn't walk early. That's my first daughter, didn't walk on time because a lot of the reasons, part of the reason was because nobody was checking her as much as possible, like an older person looking at her body. Everything I saw, I thought it was just bow leg. I didn't know that it was more serious till we pointed it out to doctors and things like that. So I avoided a lot of issues, you know. I was able to deal with these mental health issues better. Not that I'm perfect and I'm okay, but I'm able to deal with it better, and I can see when the signs are happening, when I'm getting overwhelmed, when I'm getting anxious, when I'm getting worried. I can see it from a mile away now, and I can identify the triggers and deal with them better. Okay, so now let's talk about self-care, grooming, prioritizing self and all of that. My first child, I didn't even think about myself. I was looking a bit scruffy. Okay, in my 20s, I was looking haggard. All right, all right. A lot of the times, even the pregnancy, I didn't try. Let me just tell you, I did try. If I have pictures, I probably won't show them, but I didn't try. I think that I put my child first. Everything was about the child. I didn't even put looking good for my husband, as a priority. It was all about that child, and it's understandable, right? It's understandable that your first child, you want to give everything to your child, but this child will survive. I promise you, your child will survive, okay? And you have to put yourself first, because putting yourself first sometimes helps with being a better mother, okay? It's not even sometimes, a lot of times helps with being a better mother, a better caregiver, a better provider, a better whatever the case it is, okay? So I learned in my 30s to take time out, okay? I need to take care of my hair. I need to groom myself. I need to travel for a bit. I need, a staycation. I need this. I need learn to speak up and fight for myself, okay? And understand that I am the mother. I'm the source of life, okay? Yes, we know that God is the giver of life, but I am the source, as in I'm the incubator. I'm the one that carries this child. I'm the one that is probably the primary caregiver. I'm the one that does a lot of things, that notices a lot of things, wake up in the night, check the children, all of those things as a mother, okay? Not to say that my husband is not part of this. So if I'm not at my best, if I'm not functioning at optimal capacity, if I don't look good in the morning, there's no how, my whole day will be ruined, okay? If I don't wake up in the morning, take a shower, say my prayers, maybe do a bit of skincare and all of that, come out feeling fresh, smelling good, go to work, come back, do all of that, and feel like I've accomplished something. By the time I'm looking at my kids, I cannot, do you understand? I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, but you're not able to flow, you're not able to provide the love, the care, and all of that they need, okay? And I learned that in my 30s, and I'm better for it in my 30s, okay? So what's the point? The joys of motherhood. I have a big issue with that. I have a big issue with that, because that joys of motherhood, often when people say it, is often emphasizing sacrifice, giving, the shit you take as the mother, as motherhood, to show that you are a warrior, you are a survivor, and all of that. And being in my 30s now, I've understood who I am. I've understood my own identity. I've understood my fashion sense, my dressing. I feel like I'm a better person than I was in my 20s. So when people come and say joys of motherhood, I'm able to identify that I don't want to be a suffer-head mother. I don't want to be a struggle mother. I don't want to be a mother that experiences so much shit that by the time I am older, by the time my kids are older, I can't even enjoy, like, I don't have good memories. Okay, I don't have enjoyable memories. I loved being a mom when I was younger, when I was in my 20s. I loved that, but the experiences of being a mom at that age, and now being more self-aware, being more, adapt, being more able to speak up, knowing, having information, having a community as well. I was able to build a community of other mothers, okay, where I can share things with. Exactly, that's another point too. I was able to build a community with other mothers. We talk about motherhood, we talk about marriage, we talk about what we're going through, we deal with issues, we pray together and all of that. Those things have made me a better woman, a better mother now. So the joys of motherhood that people talk about in their 20s and all these things you sacrifice and do all of that, I'm not in that struggle. I'm not trying to be that kind of mother, okay? I'm not trying to be that kind of person. I'm trying to be a better human being overall. What I would just say in conclusion is that I am thankful for the growth. I'm thankful for the lessons in my 20s. I'm grateful that I had my kids when I did, okay? That I grew to that point. I'm grateful that I had some of these experiences earlier than later. Some of the mental breakdowns, some of the harsh realities, I learned them in my 20s before I transitioned into my 30s. And so it prepared me for life now, and it's preparing me for life now. Am I done with having children? I'm not so sure. I think I am, but if I have another child, I'm sure I'll do another video, you know, being a mother in my 20s versus my late 30s and all of that stuff, and the differences in how we are raised and how, you know, motherhood affects us as human beings. Okay, but there's so many to talk about. There's so many things to talk about, but I'm grateful for the gift of motherhood earlier and motherhood now. Okay, I'm grateful for the growth. That's just the main thing. Like, the glow up is real. The glow up is real. The glow up is real. Like 20s versus my 30s, I'm so confident in myself. When I wear my shorts, when I wear my shirts, when I go out, when I dress up, I look good, and I know I look good, and I'm happy about it. I'm genuinely happy in my 30s as a mother in my 30s. I'm not so overwhelmed, and even when I know why is the lighting changing so much? And even when I'm overwhelmed, I know when to take a break. I know when to ask for help. I know when to say, okay, let's backtrack. Enough is enough. Okay, that is the beauty of motherhood right now for me. So how is it for you? How have you experienced motherhood? How has the transition been from maybe when you you know, started becoming a mother, or became a mother in your 20s, or even if you became a mother in your 30s? Is there a difference? Is there growth? Is there something that excites you? Are you happy about something? Like, what is it that has made motherhood so different right now? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'm someone who, like I said throughout this video, I became a mother in my 20s, and in my 30s now, I'm thriving, I'm happier, I look good all the time. Like, I don't know, I just feel good. Okay, and I need more women to be able to have a safe space to discuss these issues. Not condemning anyone that gets married and has kids in their 20s, or even if you don't get married, or anybody that decides to wait and have kids in their 30s or even 40s or 50s. There are different experiences that come with different things, but sharing my own perspective, sharing the growth, okay, that comes with motherhood, the growth that comes with being responsible for two lives, the growth that comes with being a caregiver, that these children depend on you for nurturing, for, you know, discipline, for training, for growth, for a lot of things, for sustenance. Okay, and how that affects me as a person. Okay, I have been trying actively to reject the African mentality that a woman is only a mother or a sex slave. Okay, I'm trying to reject that, because I'm more than that. Okay, even if I choose to have kids, even if I chose to have children and get married, I'm more than that. There's so much more to me. But when I was younger, sometimes it's so hard to fight that, because it's so overwhelming. You're hearing so many thoughts, you're hearing so many opinions, so many suggestions, how you should behave, how you should dress as a mother. You shouldn't do this. As a wife, you shouldn't do this. As a this, you shouldn't do this. As that. There's so many thoughts and comments, but the truth is that you would grow, you will figure it out by yourself. But some of these videos like this helped prepare me better. It helped give me like a firmer, you know, resources to be able to handle things. So when I saw them happening, I was able to fight it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave me your thoughts again, and I'll see you in my next video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up, like this video, subscribe, and share. Bye bye.